Hello guys, I have to record this particular session as I don't have any option because you guys are not joining the classes on time. I have to take this decision, and so today we're going to talk about loop commands. So the final one topic which we left here. Um, so in last class we have completed flow control commands, case command we have seen, and if command we have seen, if command all the forms of if, and test command also we have talked about, and conditional executing also we have seen. So here in this class we are going to talk about loop control commands. The purpose of loops is if you want to if you have a requirement of executing a set of commands continuously. So in that case we'll go with loop control commands. Okay, so continuously. So we already talked about in functions that if you have a set of commands executing repetitively. So repetitive is different. Whenever you want, you repeat them. But here it is continuous. You are going to execute the same set of commands continuously. If you start from 1 to 10, again you go to 1. 1 to 10, again you go to 1. So continuously you are going to execute without executing any other commands. Okay, so that is the purpose of loops. Okay, so you may enter, okay, so you may use loops in various scenarios, like to connect multiple servers and execute some commands. If you want to run some commands on remote servers, okay, so the same set of commands, like let's say uptime or load average or whatever it is, whatever you're trying to get. Okay, so in that case you go with loops only. And even if you want to read a file, okay, so line by line. So in some cases, if you want to execute if you want to add multiple users to the system, so and those list of users are there in the file, if you would like to read the file line by line and you would like to add the users, then in that case you go with the loops. Okay, so like a lot of situations you'd be having or you'd be using loops. So the only requirement you need to keep in mind is if you have a requirement of executing set of commands by reading a file or putting a condition, okay, so or another example I told you, to connect to multiple servers and to get the output. In whatever the situation it is, if you want to execute a set of commands continuously, then you have to approach loops. And the two loop commands we have are where we have basically is you have while loop and for loop. So you have two loops which are the basic two loops, and you can reverse the while loop, so which becomes until loop. So you reverse the logic of while loop, it becomes until loop. And also the same way, if you reverse the logic of for loop, then it becomes select loop. So altogether we have four loop commands. Now while command and until command are syntax is similar basically. So if you go with while, and also these two command syntaxes are pretty much similar to your if statement. Okay, so in if statement, if you remember, what is the final syntax I told you? If command then fi, and you'll be having commands. So if this command is successful, then it is going to execute these commands. Now the same way here you'll be having command, or you can put the expression. So you do remember the expressions, the test command expressions, right? So those command expressions, because that is also a command actually. Okay, so you can put it though to and do. So actually if is then and while is do, and after that you are going to put done, not while. So like if you don't have fi, okay, so like if you have fi while you don't have the reverse of while, you'll be having do done actually, and you'll be having commands. So these commands will be executed if this command or the expression is true. Okay, while what it is going to do, if the command or the expression is true, means if this command exists status equal to 0 or the expression exists status equal to 0, it is going to execute these commands. Now it won't come out like if statement, it goes back and again execute this command and expression. If it is again true, it executes, goes back, again true, it executes, goes back again. So till this expression fails, it is going to execute these commands. So now think about the reverse logic of while loop. So it's pretty simple. It is going to be until. So until, okay, so until this command becomes true. Now how, when this command is going to get executed is, if command or expression exit status is not equal to 0, then you go and execute this one. If the command exit status is not equal to 0, then you go and execute these commands. Okay, so in some cases until command is going to be useful, and some cases while command is going to be useful. So based on your requirement. So let me show you a small example. I'll go with uh, I'll go with just showing a basic iterations. I'll go with or I'll use read hyphen p and now while $I is greater than 0, $I is greater than 0, so you are going to have number of iterations. So iterations means the first time you are executing the commands, it is iteration 1, second time you are executing the commands, iterations 2. Okay, the technical term we usually use in loops is iteration. So actually the continuous set of commands execution, we call it as iteration wise. So iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, like that. Okay, so that's the reason I am giving enter number of iterations. So user wants 2 iterations, he'll give 2 input, and our loop needs to be executed 2 times. Okay, so 2 iteration $I. So next, what we need to do is, so it goes back and execute the same command. Okay, so if you, let's say, assume you have given 1, it is checking 1 greater than 0, it executes these commands. If you put done now itself, what happens? If you put done, so it is going to enter into an infinite loop. Why? Because $I is 1 and 1 is greater than 0, and echo iteration number. So if you put like this, if you put like this iteration number, okay, so which is $I, so it prints 1 1 1 1 continuously. Okay, so if one iteration is done, so what you need to do is you need to reduce one iteration. So how do you reduce is $I minus 1, arithmetic substitution. So now I becomes 0. Okay, so 1 minus 1 is 0. So it goes back here. 1 is greater than 0. Sorry, 0 is greater than 0. No, 0 is equal to 0. So it fails and it comes out. So our iteration is going to execute one time. So as our requested by user. So if I give 1, it execute one time. So 2, 2 times. So 3, 3 times. Okay, so that is how it is going to work. Now if you just go with, so if you go with until loop, so you need to simply reverse the logic. So reverse the logic is make the statement false. So if $I is less than, okay, but if you give 1 and 1 is less than 0, no, false, it enters now. Actually I need to give less than or equal to. Okay, so to make it false. So if you give script 26.sh, now if I give 1, it execute 1 time. So 2, it execute 2 times. It is 3, I need to execute 3. So you are getting with until loop now. So whatever the requirement you have, okay, you can go with. And while loop is usually, okay, so executed on the command line sometimes to see continuously some operation. Okay, if you continuously need to monitor a process, okay, running on the operating system, we go with while loop or until loop. Okay, and in that case you need to put a condition or an expression. Okay, so put something. So if you don't have expression and you want to enter into an infinite loop, if you would like to enter into infinite loop, so you have two commands, which is true and false. Okay, so true command, exit status is always equal to 0. Okay, so it is always not equal, it is always equal to 0, and it is always equal to 1. So whenever you would like to go with while command, so use while true to enter into infinite loop, and if you would like to go with until loop into an infinite loop, use until false. Okay, let me show you both. So while true, do, so let's say I want to check the load average, I'll get the load average in uptime command. Okay, and done. So I can hit enter. Actually it is going to continuously execute. So I just want to monitor for every 5 seconds. So let's say I'll give sleep 5. So sleep 5 is going to sleep for 5 seconds, and then the load average works. Okay, so you can see the 5 seconds gap here. So it was executed 40 seconds. Okay, so 956 40 seconds, 956 45 seconds, 956 50 seconds. So we are getting 5 seconds, we are getting this particular one. That's all. Now if you would like to go with until, so what you need to do is, if you give until true, it won't work. Why? Because until true, it is true actually. Until always looks for expression or command which is false. I'll go with false. So likewise you can go with the while and until loops. Okay, and the next two loop commands you have is for and select. Okay, so for and select are different kind of loops, which is not like similar syntax of your while and until loop. So these are two commands which are similar to your case command. Okay, so select, let me go with for loop. Okay, so for your variable in, so case your dollar variable in, but here case variable in, not dollar variable. Okay, dollar variable means you are accessing, but I am using var, means I'm defining a variable here. Not, again, I'm not going with accessing a variable. Okay, for variable in, if it is equal to pattern 1, pattern 2, instead of saying pattern 1, I can put it at value 1, value 2, value 3, and so on, value n. Okay, so do done in between commands. Okay, so what is going to happen? So for the first time, okay, so let's say I'm using this dollar variable. Okay, so you can put some conditions also. If dollar variable is equal to 1, then do some commands. So like this. Okay, I'm using this particular variable all the time in my commands of, okay, your for loop. Otherwise there is no use of going to for loop. Okay, so this particular variable is going to initialize this particular with this value. What is the way? This is the variable. This variable is going to have the content of value 1, and then it executes the command. So whenever you access variable, you get value 1 and it goes back. This variable is going to load with value 2, and anytime you execute these commands you are going to get value 2. So for all these values, loading one by one value all these commands, and if all these values are completed, your loop automatically comes out. So this is for command is very useful for administrators. Okay, so for server in, okay, so let's say you are having 10 hosts, host 1, host 2, web 1, web 2, db1, db2, and do. Okay, so let's say you would like to connect to SSH $server and you want to get the uptime, and done. So for the first time, server is going to use host 1 SSH host 1 uptime, and the second time the server is going to use host 2 SSH host 2 and uptime. Third time web 1. So you're connecting to two different servers and you're getting those outputs on the same screen. Okay, so this command is very much and pretty much useful for administrators. Okay, now so let me show you that with our example. So addition, subtraction, read hyphen p, enter value 1. So I'll go with not reading the things. I'll go with a is equal to $1, b is equal to $2, and op is equal to dollar. You don't need a op actually. That's fine. For op in, add, subtract, multiply. Let me use this read command only. And so now operators, I'm going to put it in a for loop. So this is absolutely no use, just for our understanding. So add, subtract, multiply divided by 2. So case $op in, if it is equal to add, echo equal to $a. So you, in the book whatever I have sent you, you might have observed or not. Okay, so in arithmetic substitution, no need to give even dollar. So if you give a plus b also, it is going to pick those things. If okay, now okay, I'll just put it. You don't see the difference, so that's the reason I'll put sleep 2 seconds. Okay, so these are all the commands which are associated with my for loop. This is one command which is case command, and this is another command. So all these commands will be executed. For the first time, your op is loaded with this add variable, op is loaded with subtract variable, multiply and divided by. So now see. So 10, 20, first time addition, second time subtraction, third time multiplication, fourth time division. So it goes one by one. Okay, so loading one by one value. But the first time OP is add, so that's the reason you got addition. Okay, so like that. Now let me copy this particular script to select loop. So what is select loop? So we talked about for loop. What is select loop is, okay, so the for loop syntax is same. You replace with select. That's all. You're done. Like your while and until. So select loop is going to, okay, execute all these commands for all these values. Anyhow, for loop also does that. But for loop, what happened? These values are loaded automatically one by one and it executed. Whereas select loop is going to list you and ask for which value I have to pick and I have to execute these commands. So something like that, it puts a question. Okay, so you answer the question to the select command. So basically it gives the list of these values, and okay, so after giving the list of those values, you select a value, and based on the value your commands are going to get executed. Okay, so usually for scripts which you want to make a menu, okay, so select command is the best option. Now so 10, 20, so you can see here you are getting add, subtract, multiply, divided by, you're getting a list, and it is asking that particular list. So you select one, you'll get addition. You'll get select 2, you will get subtract. So you select the value and you are getting the output. So let's say you give 3, 3 multiply. Okay, so 4, like this. Okay, so now let's say, okay, so okay, let me put a multiple scenarios here. Okay, now here you are getting dollar question mark as default prompt mm, in select command. So if you would like to print a custom prompt, okay, you can go with a variable called as ps3. So you can go with the ps3 equal to select option. This is the prompt I'm going to get 10, 20. So you'll get like this. So you select one, you get addition. So I don't require script 28.sh. So here a lot of things comes into the picture. So let's say if you, okay, so every time it is asking you the menu again and again. So let's say if you have a requirement of selecting the option, and after the option purpose is done and the commands is done, you want to come out. Okay, so what you can do is you can put exit command here. That's all. So script 28.sh. So 10, 20, select one, select addition, and you come out. Okay, so 3, 1, 3, 5, multiplication, and you'll come out. Okay, so likewise, okay, you go with the loops and you will perform the tasks, okay, continuously. Now you have a problem here. Okay, so to come out of this loop, what is the command I have used is I used an exit command. Okay, because I have this set of commands, that's fine, okay, in my script. But let's say I have some other program here. I have a very big program even after the loop also. Okay, so my requirement is to come out of the loop now, not come out of the script. So I cannot use exit command. So what you can do? So yes, it is possible with two loop control commands, which you have is break and continue. So break is to break the loop, and continues to continue to next iteration. Okay, so if you want to come out of the loop, you are going to use break command. So here in this case, okay, so let's say I have echo welcome to world. So something like this, I have a message. Okay, I'm using this particular script. So script 28.sh 21 edition it came out, but one second. So you came out of the loop, okay, because you are using exit command there. So now I want to break the loop so that my remaining commands can be executed. So I'm going to use break there. So and see now 28.sh so 10 20 I select 1. So after that it came out of the loop and it continued with the remaining commands in my script. Okay, that's where, and then use break command. And what is continue command? Okay, so continue command is something like this. Okay, let me let me write a small example to, okay, so to connect to multiple servers and I want to get the output. Okay, so the for loop, whatever we talked about, to connect to multiple servers and connect and get uptime. Okay, so to get uptime actually, okay, so I cannot directly go and if I give SSH some server, so server X, you immediately got something like this. But if I give 192.168.1.2, so the server does not exist, but I'm giving a valid IP address, so it takes a lot of time to come out. So I'm unnecessarily making my system, okay, so waiting. Okay, so because I'm not checking whether this particular IP address is pinging or not. Unless and until it pings, I cannot connect through SSH. That is the basic point, right? So my script needs a requirement something like that. Okay, what is the requirement? If ping succeeds, if the list of servers given by the user, that's fine. Okay, so if ping succeeds, then only I have to do SSH. Otherwise, I need to give ping file. Okay, so that case, what I'll do is I'll put a list of hosts in a file. I'm going to use, you can go with for loop also, but I'll go with while loop now, or for loop only will go, not a problem. So let's say I'm giving host 1, local host, and 268.2. So 3 things. Okay, so here am ssh.sh slash bash. And now, so read hyphen p, so it is going to have a file, right? So we are going to put it in a file. So enter file name, so with the list of hosts. Okay, so I'm going to put it in file. So next, immediately what I'm going to check is if hyphen f dollar file, if not, actually if not that particular file exists, what I would like to do, then echo file not exist and exit there itself. I don't want to entertain the user. Okay, now file exists, so for I'll go with for server in. Okay, so I want to get the list of files. What is the file? Cat dollar file. So if you give like this, okay, you are catting that particular command and all the list automatically loaded by your shell to the for command. So get the file and put all the lines here. That's all. Okay, so and you have to make sure that there are no spaces in the file, and also one word for one line. Obviously no spaces means it is going to be one word for one line, then only this situation works. Otherwise you have other situations to go with. So how do I get how do I check whether the server is pinging or not? Firstly, I'll check. So ping $server. So I don't want any output to be printed on the screen, so I'll go with /null. So if $? Is equal to 0, then what I need to do is, then I want to do with ssh $server, and I'm going to give uptime and fi. Instead of fi, I'll go with else. So if $? Is not equal to 0, so what I'll do is ping failure. So echo ping failed. Which server? $server. And here I want to continue. Okay, so fi. So instead of writing, okay, that is also fine. Okay, and done. So this is my simple script. So even if you don't put continue also, it's the same logic. Okay, because you don't have commands over here something. If you have some commands, better you put continue. sh.sh. So enter. Oh, sorry. sh.sh. What is the file name we created? Is host, right? hosts. So ping failed to host 1. So it is trying to connect to SSH to local host, that also fails. Okay, because I haven't enabled SSH to connect. Okay, so directly with password, so that also fails anyhow. Let's see. Okay, just try to understand that. Okay, for the first time it picked host 1, second time it is picking local host in the file, and the third time it is going to use some other IP address we have used. Okay, so this is the problem with SSH. Okay, so directly if you go with SSH without checking the whether the IP is up or not, the host is up or not, it will take a lot of time. Okay, so might be if you are dealing with small number of servers, that is fine, but you deal with thousands of servers, you have to keep this in mind. Usually if you go with a decent company, like mid-cap companies, so you'll find easily thousands of servers. And if you go with the large scale companies, so you'll see lakhs of servers. So you have SSH, actually you have SSH options. So something it gives permission, that's fine. So it's tried to connect at least as it is pinging. Okay, so you need to have a valid environment setup. So you need to check whether this host is able to connect to the other host or not. Something you need to check. So the next host it is trying. Okay, so the other one also ping failed. So that is how. So we usually write code with loops. Now the next one, okay, so one last one we have is, okay, so we left is actually So using getopts. Okay, so what is the purpose of this particular getopts command is, so you have a situation that, okay, so what you have done, you have used read command to read the input. So we have certain disadvantages with read command. What is the disadvantage? It takes the input at runtime. So if it, as it is taking the input with runtime, so if you want to put some scripts through cron job, you cannot, okay, it cannot succeed usually. Okay, so that reason, okay, so we go with special variables. So we have seen special variables now. And after that, okay, so special variables is also sometime, okay, so people don't like this particular special variables directly. Okay, so instead, okay, so you are using script like this, dot slash script, okay, 1020 add. So instead of people, okay, so I mean using the values directly, so some people likes to use options. What is the advantage you are going to get? Options is, let's say hyphen a10 hyphen b20 hyphen o add. What is the advantage if we are going to get with options is, in the previous situation, so if we go with special variables, if we give 10 add 20, it is not going to work. Why? Because our position of our operator is on third value, so it has been shifted to second value, it will not work, right? So that's the reason. Okay, so you have I mean you have options. So how do you use options is, even though if you use options, so let's say all of a sudden you have changed the order, so hyphen o add hyphen a and hyphen b20, so you change complete orders of each and every value, so it is going to work. Why? Because this value is being, okay, so tagged with an option, right? So if you would like to use options in your scripting, okay, so then you have an internal command which is getopts, so another type of taking the input. So to go with getopts, it's straightforward. Okay, so let me show you. So you need to combine while loop with the getopts, because we're going to execute same set of commands again and again. So that is the actual syntax. So getopts is the command. And what are the options you are allowed? So I am allowed with use A option, B option, O option. Here O and semicolon is not a delimiter actually. So semicolon is denoting that A has a value. A has a value. Okay, so A is having a value. So sometimes you know that, okay, some options doesn't require a value, it's a simple flag, so something like cp-v or cp-p, so those are flags actually. So if you enable the flag, so meaning changes. Okay, so if you have flag, you don't need to give any semicolon, that's all. If B also flag, no need of set. If O is also, A is also flag, no semicolon. Okay, so here in this we'll talk about having options. So and OPT is a variable. You can put any variable. Okay, OPT, VAR, anything. I'm just putting as OPT. Now do case $OPT in, if it is equal to A. So I'm just going to use a variable capital A. So this is option A, storing in a variable. So that's the reason, to avoid confusion, I'm using capital A. Even you can use small a also. So A is equal to, I need to get the value which is associated, and now I went to the command line options and I'm looking for a option and I'm looking for this particular value and I want to fetch this value. So how you fetch this value is, your getopts is going to help you by using a variable opt arg. So opt, this is an option, hyphen a is an option, and this is the argument to the option, so which is option argument. Okay, so next we go with B. So if it is B is equal to $opt arg, so double semicolon. If it is equal to O, is equal to $opt arg. And if there are any other options used, okay, other than these things, so what we can do is, okay, so you can call a usage function and done, you're done. That is a simple syntax. Okay, so and I'll go with usage. Okay, so usage is echo. So how to use the script? So usage. So as you are writing the script, it is always mandatory to tell how to use the script. Okay, so base name of $0. Everyone cannot read the code. Okay, so value one hyphen p, value two hyphen o, operate. That's all. So the user will come to not list, and that's all. So what I'll do is I'll print what all the values I have here. So a is equal to $a slash n equal to $p slash n. So so I have is b slash n. So now I'm executing this particular script. Okay, so I'm getting empty values. So as you're not providing any input, even you can call the usage function. Okay, so if something like this 29.sh. So as the number of values are empty, so I can call the usage function. So how do I check? Dollar hash is less than or equal to 0, then call the usage. Now if I give simply like this, so it gives me how to use this value. Oh, okay. So then I'll get an idea. So 10. So you're getting 10 value. So if you use hyphen p 20, you're getting 20 value. You change the order. So you change the order. So you put hyphen a10. So still you're getting the same values, even the order changes. Okay, so you put the operator in between. So hyphen o add, yes, still you are getting the same values like this. And using those values, you can continue into your script, and whatever you want, you can do it over there. Okay, so this is about getopts, and it is pretty simple. You don't need to worry. And this is all about the scripting which we are going to talk about, but you have a few commands which are left. So here eval command. Okay, so some examples we'll see for each and every command. So eval command, you have something like this: a is equal to 10, b is equal to $a. Okay, so then if you give echo $b, what you are getting? You are getting $a. Why? Because you are giving it in single quotes, it didn't got a chance to replace this value while initializing the variable. Okay, so this is also a variable, and if you would like to reinitialize one more time, you go with eval. So eval is going to resubstitute the variables one more time. Okay, so that is the use of eval command. So you have semicolon command. The next one you have is semicolon. What is semicolon command is, okay, so it's an alias to true command. Okay, so dollar question mark. So sometimes you'll be seeing while semicolon some people using. Okay, so undo something like uptime, so whatever we have seen, right? So semicolon is also a alias to true command. It always return exit status equal to 0. So this is used to enter into infinite loops. Okay, so this is about semicolon command. And type command we already talked about. So type command, okay, so determine the type of command, whether it is a function, whether it is a shell built-in, whether it is an alias, or whether it is a binary file. So if we give type cat, it is giving like that. Okay, so if we give type, so if I give my function name, so it tells you it is a function. Okay, so type ls command, it will tell you it is alias command. So the other one you have is type history command. You have you. Okay, so history, it is a shell built-in command. Okay, so type cd, it's a shell built-in command. So all the shell built-in commands can be get with enable command. Already told you. Okay, so that is the use of type command. I think we already talked about this one in functions. Now sleep command, you know what is sleep command, and the find command. The find command is usually used to help the find the files. Okay, so the one, see, anyhow you are aware of that one. The one thing I want to ensure in find command, okay, is with respect to scripts is you combine find with exarch actually. Okay, so you find the list of files and you want to remove them. Okay, what you do is, so find, okay, so some xyz, and I shown you, right, if you give directly rm-f it won't work, so you have to give exarch, to give exarch. Okay, so in the exarch command I have told you that particular part. Okay, so exarch command is to used to convert rows to columns, columns to rows, and also to accept the standard inputs we use exarch commands. Okay, so and the expr and bc commands are actually listed in your book, you can see. So we went with arithmetic operation by using arithmetic substitution, whereas you have three other commands actually I have listed in the book. Okay, so in the lab manual and as well as in the, okay, so description part. So you just go through that. Okay, you'll understand. You two have two commands expr and bc, and nullify unwanted output, we already seen that. Okay, that /dev/null, and we're pending with, okay, so trap command, shift command, debugging a script. Debugging a script is nothing but if you want to execute a script in a debug mode, you want to see each and every step what is happening, so you go with debug mode, that's all. Okay, so let's say I have script 29.sh, I want to execute in a debug mode. What I'll do is, okay, I want to execute in bash, right? So bash -x. So every line you are going to see what is happening, that's all. That is the debug mode. So let's see how to make a binary file, and after the, firstly we'll see trap command, shift command, and then we'll go with making a binary file. So trap command, so sometimes, okay, you have a requirement of, okay, so disabling it signals, trapping the signals. So what are the signals we have? So kill -9, so sorry, kill -l. So you have total 64 signals. If you're running a script and you don't want to you don't want to send a signal to that particular script, a certain signal. Okay, so what you can do is you can trap them by using trap command. Let's see. So I'm using sleep 30 seconds. So what is going to happen? So if I use script 30.sh, so if I will press Ctrl C, my sleep command is still running. I came out. So Ctrl C is a very dangerous command sometimes. Okay, so it may lead to some disasters also. Okay, so some very important script is running. So accidentally, if you press Ctrl C, you're done. Okay, so Ctrl C should be C. Okay, so let's say my requirement is to disable that particular Ctrl C signal. Okay, what I'll do is I'll go with a trap command. So how can you use that is simple, very simple. So before starting up the script itself, from wherever you want to trap, you can go and trap from there, that's fine. So trap, start the single quotes, end the single quotes, you don't want to put anything there, so, and give the signal number. So Control C is, okay, interrupt signal, so signal number 2. So if I give script 30.sh, so my script is running, I'm pressing Control C, it will not work, it will not work. But still, if you want to forcefully close the script, so you have other signal numbers, you go with kill -15 or you go with kill -9. So you have other signals, those will get accepted, but only Control C, and usually it is recommended to disable only Control C signal, but not all signals. Okay, so after 30 seconds it is going to come out. So that is about trap command, to trap the signals. And you have shift command. So what is the purpose of shift command? In special variables, how many number of values you can pass to the script? You can pass only 9 values. You cannot pass more than 9 values. So if you want to pass more than 9 values, so you can use shift command. So I'll simply show you with a simple example. So echo $1 equal to $1, $1. Why to write again? I'll use the same thing, but I'll use a shift command in between. Okay, so let's see what's happening. So script31.sh. So script31.sh. I'm giving 10 space 20. So for the first time, what happened? $1 is 10 only. But after that, again $1 is again 20. What is this? What happened is shift command. So shift, there is a certain pointer which is pointing actually this is $1. So that gets shift one value to this one. Okay. Now what we can do, we can use some kind of loops or some kind of function arrays, and we can get all the values if you have more than 9 values, and you can get those. I mean, if you have even more than 9 values, you go one by one value. Okay, so you can come out. Okay, so if dollar hash is equal to 0 or $1 is empty, you want to come out. Okay, based on the situation in the while loop, you can use that particular one and you can come out. Okay, so that is about shift command. And the last one we have is making a binary file. So sometimes you'll be having a requirement of not to share the code with the users. See, you want to share the script, but you don't want to share the code. Okay, so every shell script can be, okay, is clearly available to see the code, right? So you open the script, you can see the code. Okay, I want to give the script to the user, so but I don't want to show the code. I want to make a script into a binary file. So binary file means, so you can see is /bin/cat. So cat command we usually use sorry, not car, cat. Can you see any code? No, you cannot see any code. So likewise, I want to do something. Okay, so how do you do that is you have a compiler called as shc. Okay, so you can just download shc from internet. Okay, so I don't remember the syntax. shc-f script name. So shc-f, so script28.sh. What it has done, so script28.sh, it took and it created a C file. From C file it created a binary file. So this is my binary file. Can you see any code? No, you will not see any code now. Okay, so but if you execute this particular one, see, enter value 1, 10, enter value 2, 20. So enter the option 1. So however you execute script28.sh, the same way it is working. 10, 21, same thing it is happening. Nothing difference. Okay, but the code is completely encrypted, binarized now. Okay, so this is how you make a binary file. So you can download that from internet, so which is nothing but shc, so shell compiler. Okay, so you can download, it's free actually, you can download from the internet. Okay, so that's all from my side for the respect to scripting. Okay, so you can have any questions, you can reach out to me. Thank you.